I can't wait to hear who he saw in the 80s, the iconic, legendary, famous people of the day in their sexy lingerie.
But Marilyn and I had a fling. I said, okay, my mouth kind of dropped, and it's like, is he really telling me this? So I said, okay.
Welcome back to the show. We're coming at you today with another good one. We know how much y'all love the Butlers. So we're going back to the early 80s. We have Mitch Rosen with us today, and we've been trying to get Mitch on the show for a minute. So this is going to be a really good show. Before we start, thank you to our audience for following, liking, subscribing. Please leave a comment down below if there's anything in particular you want to know about. So Mitch Rosen was at the Playboy Mansion from 1983 to 1989. And these were the years of Carrie Leigh, which I would say was probably one of Hef's more prolific relationships, one that was often described as difficult. So I'm happy that we're going to be able to delve into that. A quote from Mitch: "I've lived a life that's taken me through some of the most fascinating corners of American pop culture. A career that has taken Mitch from one of the world's most famous private estates to the heart of the Los Angeles music scene, and ultimately into a lifelong career in hospitality where he finds himself today." Mitch has been the recipient of many certifications, awards, and recognition: English and French Wine Spectator Award recipient and the 5 Diamond Award recipient for 2000, 2001, and 2003 in Condé Nast Traveler. That's awesome. Yay. Your father also owned the legendary Sneaky Pete's, which was a very well-known, successful restaurant supper club, speakeasy as well. And it was a fixture on the iconic Sunset Strip throughout the 60s and the 70s. So I would say it was in your blood that you got into the hospitality industry. Something that was really interesting, Mitch, that I saw on your resume, and I was like, my mouth fell wide open. I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's where I grew up. Lotta green chili cheeseburgers, and you were the area manager for Lotta.
What?
What? So welcome to the show, Mitch.
First of all, thank you both for having me. And I'm so thrilled to be here. Finally, I wish I could hug you both. So happy to be here. Can I tell you how I got the job at the mansion? We'll start there.
Yeah, of course.
No, we don't want to hear how you started at the mansion.
Yeah.
So, all right. So you were at the mansion in the early 80s. So you started in 83 then?
Correct. Yeah, I had a friend of a friend who worked at the mansion. His name was Ron Johnstone. He asked me do you want to work at the mansion? I go, are you kidding me? The Playboy Mansion? Yeah, of course. So next thing I know is I have an interview with Guy and interview with him. And he says, Mitch, when can you start? And he put me on mornings first. And then ultimately I moved to swing shifts. So got the job. And before that, I did a couple like New Year's Eve party. I did a Midsummer Night's Dream party. And then he said, I guess somebody left or got laid off or whatever. But they said, Mitch, I need you to work permanently. I says, I'm in. I mean, I'm not going to pass this up.
For our listeners, the Midsummer Night's Dream parties were probably one of the most iconic party you could ever attend. Everyone's in their pajamas and his
lingerie.
Yeah, and it was very whimsical and beautiful and sexy, and
had a shrimp tower like Rhonda.
Yes, like Rhonda was talking about. I always loved the chocolate covered strawberries. Like I have that and champagne, but you would see celebrities in their pajamas. There is nowhere else in the world. And you know, now everyone has pajama parties. No one had that. No one did.
Yeah, they totally copied that from
1,000%.
Playboy for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I started at working a couple parties, New Year's Eve party and a Midsummer Nights. And then Guy said, I need you to work permanently. And I just said, I'm yours.
Nice.
And that's when it began.
What was your impression? I just want to take our listeners back to this young, how old were you?
Yeah.
24, and I had more hair.
You had more hair, audience. No, but 24, here you are, 24, wet behind the ears, and your very first introduction, as you will, to Playboy was the Midsummer Night's Dream party.
The lingerie party.
Yes. And I imagine there were some celebrities of the day in their pajamas, and that must have been very interesting.
Do tell.
Many.
What did you feel like? Go.
So just to answer what you're asking, Miss Karina, I was born and raised in Beverly Hills. So for me, it kind of didn't jade me. So I kind of, growing up under my father's restaurant and seeing a lot of celebrities and
sure,
Johnny Carson was a partner of my father's back in the day. So I had a good glimpse of celebrities, and it was like normal to me, believe it or not. And I took it as such. I mean, they're just like you and I were, like how we're talking. So had a lot of encounterings with celebrities. And when I reached the mansion, I was kind of blown away. It's like, wow, I've never done this before. And I thrilled to be and given the opportunity, not only to work for Mr. Hefner, to be a part of that and start my journey.
That's actually interesting. I like that history. And I thought about that when I read that your father had that super famous, iconic supper club. Oh, so you definitely had been around that vibe.
The question is, having been around so many iconic human beings as wander the hills of the Beverly Hills, I imagine, I always say have had the best parties ever, but I didn't have anything to compare it to like you. I didn't grow up in Beverly Hills. I grew up in the streets of Las Vegas. What was your impression as far as, being in Beverly Hills? Was it a different side that you didn't know existed, or was it just no big deal because you always went to parties just like Hef?
Well, they were a lot more fun and an opportunity I had gone to a lot of the Beverly Hills parties. I mean, there were so many of them, but I think this was, as I was working these parties, I just had so much fun. I just, you would see so many things. I mean, it would take 5 shows to get into exactly what I all saw. And I'm going to be very courteous and polite, but I saw a lot of things go on, great things, interesting things, but it felt normal to me for some reason, because like I said, growing up in Beverly Hills, I thought that I had seen everything, but when I got to the mansion, I understood that this was a different show. Right. And I was like a sponge, but I had so much fun. So much fun.
Did you ever feel unsafe?
Tell us.
Did you ever feel unsafe there? And like it was awful? And
that you were trapped?
Did you feel trapped and like the girls were afraid? Did they seem terrified for their life?
No, they also had fun. I mean, and we had a sense of family there. Butlers, for me, we wanted to protect the Playmates. Anything that we saw, we when they used to come in and to the Mediterranean room, which is the breakfast room, and then or the great wherever, or they're staying on the property, brand new Playmates and this and that. And I'm getting to my points. We were all just a family, when I was there, and that transparent to even further into the the 90s and the 2000s, etc. But I was fine. I mean, I wasn't afraid. I mean, I guess because like I said, I was born in Beverly Hills, so I understood. I wasn't afraid of anything. And I was the guy. I mean, I don't want to say this, I was Butler of the Year, right? I mean, everybody just,
Did you even know that was a thing?
Congratulations.
No. I mean, back then, I just was, everybody wanted to make sure that either I waited on them or I was there, it was that kind of vibe, but I was never afraid. I just had fun, and even Mr. Hefner, I think when I first met him, when I first, I guess, dropped off his peanut butter and jelly sandwich at 3 p.m. in the afternoon with Lay's potato chips, that if you had any bruise marks on the potato chips, he would say, I need another set of chips. And of course, yes, sir, run away. He intimidated me the first time I had actually had that moment with him. But other than that, because he was good to me, and we'll get into that as well. Just no, the answer to the question, I'm sorry I'm blabbling here, but you're getting me excited.
Well, you're here to blabber, so please do. We want to hear all of it.
Yeah, that's so true too. We always love to ask about anybody really who worked within the mansion, like, what was it like the first time you met Hef? I mean, right down to the playmates, it's always that awestruck moment, like, oh my God, it's Hugh Hefner. I think you were surprised at the end of the day of how was and how he was to you and when you had his like attention. And I do know from what you sent me, that handwritten letter from him, which we're going to put up during the video, butlers didn't get that, Mitch. That's very cool. And I know you have some personal stories about that. So I want to get into Carrie Leigh. So let's do tell. So they were together for 5 years, right?
So Carrie ran the household, and I loved Carrie Leigh. I just, and I was her, here I go again, but I was her favorite because again, if she called down and asked for order lunch or whatever.
Let's tell our listeners who don't know who Carrie Leigh is.
So Carrie Leigh was Hef's girlfriend for about 5.5 years during my experience at the mansion. And
after Shannon Tweed, because Shannon had left. Yeah.
Correct. And then before that was Sandra Theodore, right? I believe, right. Yeah. So Carrie was the woman of the mansion, and interesting person, very interesting. She just enjoyed everyone, but if she didn't like you,
you knew it.
You knew it, and she made sure. And there's a lot of butlers, that she just didn't feel comfortable talking to. I mean, I used to take her around, and I know you had John on recently, and I know that he was also a driver. John was one of the butlers JD,
yeah,
who started just after I did, and I love him too. Fantastic.
Oh,
love him.
Yeah, that's cool. That's right. You guys would have worked together. Yeah, JD.
Correct. His story is interesting as well. Nonetheless, Carrie Leigh was, as I said, very interesting. But if she didn't like you, you would know about it. And Carrie and I had this kind of, I don't know, it was a really good rapport with each other because, again, she didn't feel comfortable talking to most. But when she did talk to you, you had to listen and you had to do what she said. Mm-hmm. And, look, I was there to protect, everyone, but my job was to make sure that Mr. Hefner was taken care of. Number one.
Right.
I mean, years ago when he had, his Pepsi or, out if he's taking a walk or if he didn't have one, I always, you have to beeline it to get to him and give him a Pepsi. Yeah. Or if he liked a rum and Coke, whatever it was, he was number one. We took care of him. We also took care of all the guests that used to come up, whether it's Jimmy Kahn or Tony Curtis or Magic Johnson or Robin Williams. I mean, they're the playmates, anything and everything. We take care of them, but Hef was number one.
Oh, since you were there till 89, you were there then when Kimberly Conrad came in as a playmate. Cool. Okay.
Correct.
That just hit me. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
And Kimberly was also a little different. The house was run a little differently when she was there, but those were my last years of a butler at the mansion. It's funny. I recently saw her, I would say, maybe 10 years after that, I was rollerblading in Venice and I saw her and she actually stopped to say hello. I didn't recognize her, but she said hello. Yeah, I didn't recognize her.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, she looked great, but it's like, Kimberly.
She's the best. I love her.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. Yeah. And I also, I believe that I met Marston and Cooper. They were little toddlers. They would
have been with her, I bet. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow, that's cool that she stopped you. Yeah, she was always an absolute sweetheart. Now, for our audience, Carrie Leigh was never a playmate. How did her and Hef even come to be? She was this absolutely gorgeous, stunning, jet black hair, green eyes, tall, thin, like very different than any other woman Hef had been with.
So first of all, she's from Toronto. She's Canadian. Okay. And she came to I don't know if it was a Midsummer Nights or a New Year's Eve party, and she was introduced to Hef. I always say I'm Mr. Hefner. I always give him respect, always. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they had met, and I guess it began. I think he started courting her, and she just became like one of us fixtures, right? And it just began. But she had a class to her.
Yeah.
That I think Kimberly also had she also had a class, but they had different kind of a class, right?
Sure.
And something that I really, fantastic. I really liked Carrie. We just had so much fun.
I like to hear that because I've heard different things, from whether it's playmates or butlers and people saying toxic or difficult or whatever. But I mean, it can only be taken at face value. You had a great relationship with her. So
I
you had a
did.
great experience with her. Other people
Yeah.
may or may not have. And it's like Karina always says, there's two truths, it's like you have your personal experience and then it's what somebody else had,
Yeah,
It's
two
like,
things can be true. Yeah, and
yeah,
it's interesting. Canadian
I know
women
he
may just
loved
be
his
the class.
Canadian
Shannon Tweed is one. There's
Pamela
there's
Anderson,
yeah, Canadian women are special then.
Kimberly Conrad.
Canadians, we're gonna pay our homage to Canadian women right now in this moment.
You're darn right.
So you were the house DJ. I never knew that. That's super cool.
Yes, I was. And what happened there was, and also Carrie Leigh was responsible for that as well. So I owe her homage for that. I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. So I guess there was a DJ that was there and I think it was he. Yeah. He was terrible. I mean,
He didn't make the cut.
Yeah.
Let's get into the 80s music because that is my love. Love, love, love. So what was the music that you played as DJ? What would bring us back to the 80s at the mansion?
So and this is gonna, I mean, there's so many stories here. I met a music executive. I got him up to the mansion and I introduced him to Melinda Mays. Do you remember Melinda Mays? She was I think she was she was 83. She was a Playmate.
Okay.
The best. So anyway, introduced them. They started dating, but backwards. His name was Ken Commissar. So Ken came up to the mansion. And when I was DJing, and I had a partner with me. His name was Todd. So we used to DJ the house at the mansion, among other parties in and around Beverly Hills and Los Angeles and clubs and etc. But so I got that. But before that, the music I used to play, Karina, I like video killed just everything and anything. I did some underground music too because I wanted to be a little different.
Yes.
Nice.
So like Heaven 17, Culture Club, even though they got kind of poppy, obviously Wham and The Cure and New Order and
it's New Order.
Yeah,
The Cure.
I mean, and I had this mobile system, which I think I sent you a photo, but we were great. I mean, we were so good. I mean, people, and this is. And, I didn't even have to audition.
Edge, that's before there were also DJs now. I mean, you were way ahead of your time there.
Yeah. Think about that, to have a mobile system and you're going around Hollywood, like playing events and you're the main DJ at the mansion. That's super cool, Mitch.
I got a lot of girlfriends doing that. I'm telling you.
And he was so cute. Do you see the pictures of him?
My hair.
I mean, you're still cute, Mitch.
Darling.
Yeah. Thanks for the pick me up, Karina.
No, hey, you still got it. You still got it.
Loved every minute of it. But it, again, so much fun and opportunity. And, look, Hef could have said easily, I don't like this music but Carrie kept pushing, so she got me to, I did like 4 or 5 Midsummer Nights and I did New Year's Eve and I did a Playmate of the Year. Actually did 3 Playmate of the Years. Kathy Showers, Donna Edmondson, and Karen Velez.
Nice.
And also in Beverly Hills Cop 2. I don't know if you two remember, but they filmed Beverly Hills Cop 2 at the mansion by the pool. Yeah. Oh my God.
I remember that. So now we have to look back. Everyone's going to have to look back and see Mitch doing the DJ thing in the mansion backyard, playing himself. How interesting is that?
With hair.
He's like,
yeah.
I'm just part of the ambiance.
That's super cool.
I mean, we're in the background. You'd have to freeze frame it, but thank you, Karina. But it was a great experience, obviously. Eddie Murphy and, that whole entourage and, Mr. Hefner and Carrie were in the film. And I was asked to do that with my partner and we were off to the corner, but it was so cool. I mean, everybody was there. It was like a 2-day shoot, and it was Tony Scott was the director who sadly passed away years ago, but it just was a great experience. It was so much fun. I just started my way. I mean, I was building my resume, as I was spinning records.
And it was after that you went into the music industry with a division of Warner Brothers and what was it? Chappell? I have it somewhere.
That's correct. It was Windswept Pacific, a music publishing company. They also had catalog music. It was also like professional managers and song pluggers. You'd pitch songs to artists.
Right.
Like you would pitch a song from the catalog to like Eric Clapton, and then Eric Clapton would say, "Okay, I want it," and then we'd sell it to him. But my role was an A&R. So I would try to sign bands, local bands in LA, in and around the clubs.
Was it when you left the mansion? So early 90s?
Yes, thank you. It was when I left the mansion, and then I went right into the music.
Was that connection from Playboy then? Your music connection came from Playboy. Interesting. Okay. And then now we have to know the big bands that you signed.
So
you saw Motley Crue and all of that happening and evolving on the Sunset Strip because it was that era, right?
True. Quiet Riot and Rat. Yeah. And
Rat, yeah.
You know, and was it Great White? And I mean, all those bands were the glam bands, but I was more into, because as we were getting into the grunge, I was more into like those kind of bands. And so I got a chance to hear Four Non Blondes, which was headed by Linda Perry, who wrote for Pink. She's brilliant. So she was at the Coconut Teaser, which is a local rock and roll. It's like the Whiskey A Go-Go or the Roxy on Sunset Boulevard. So she was playing, and we all knew about it. It was an industry thing, right? So we all went to the Coconut Teaser, and I heard her song, What's Up? And this is before she was signed with anybody. I went right up to her and I says, I need to have lunch with you and the band, because I had an expense account with who I was with, the company I was with, to try to sign bands. So I went up to her and I said, I need to get you signed. We need to talk. So we could exchange numbers and everything like that. And then 2 days later, she was signed to BMG, which is RCA Records.
Oh my God, no way.
Yeah. How's that for a letdown?
That's a cool
she was
story,
signed.
though.
Yeah. She was really, really nice. She was just a nice, and I knew she just had that spark in her eye that you knew she was going to be successful.
I didn't realize that she wrote songs for Pink. Pink is one of my most favorite artists of all time. That's interesting background.
I was instrumental in signing a band called, they started out a name of Far Cry, but then they became Sun 60 and signed to Epic Records back, I think it was 91 or 90. Okay. And I brought it to Epic Records' attention, which is that gentleman I said, Ken Commissar, who I was friendly with, who I introduced him to Melinda, and that's history. But
he swept her up.
He swept her up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh my.
And but now we all sing it at karaoke every single
It's true.
Wednesday.
That's so funny. True. Wednesday karaoke. That's right, Rena.
Mitch, you have to tell us, you have to have several fantastic celebrity stories, but like one or two that stick out in your brain at the mansion. Tell us.
I do. I have a Tony Curtis story, which is just,
I love
this is, I mean, look, this one just hits home hard because I loved Tony Curtis. The man was charming. Mm-hmm. And he was so sweet, and he was so funny too. So I'm running the pantry, which is the heartbeat of the mansion. It was I don't know, midweek or so, and I'm the only one in the pantry because it was dinner time. So Tony comes up. I get a call, and every time we got a call from security, we'd always have to enter it into the black book. We all know what the black book is, but for those viewers,
for the viewers, I want to say two things, and they've heard the butlers talk about the pantry. So the pantry was literally the pantry. It was between the kitchen and the two dining rooms. There was the main hall, big dining area, and then there was the med room, and that's where all the playmates would hang out too with the butlers, even though we were told do not fraternize, but it was the heartbeat of the mansion. That's where all the calls came through for security, the black book. Go on, Mitch.
Absolutely. You hit it right on the nose, Echo. We had to enter everybody's name. So it was documented. Okay. So Tony comes up, he comes into the pantry, and I'm doing, cleaning or setting up for whatever. And Tony says he'd like to have dinner. And I said, absolutely, sir. What would you like? He says, well, I want a steak and a salad. And then he said to me, he says, Mitch, can you join me in the dining room? And I looked and I said, well, Tony, I can't. I gotta listen for the phone, because if Mr. Hefner calls down, I've got to be available. Sorry, because 2 rings, you got to have that right there. Mm-hmm. So I told Tony, I said, Tony, look, I can stand at the doorway between the dining room and the pantry, but that's about all I can do. So anyway. Fast forward, he gets his meal. He's in the dining room. So he says to me, Mitch, how long you been working here? So I told him this and that. And he knew this, but he was looking to talk to somebody. So then he says to me, Mitch, did you ever see the movie Some Like It Hot? And I says, well, yeah, I mean, that's with you and Jack Lemmon and Marilyn Monroe, right? And he said to me, he says, yeah. He says, did I ever tell you the story about Marilyn Monroe? I says, no, Tony, you didn't, because why would you be telling me? So he said to me, this is a true story. So he says to me, he says, well, Mitch, I don't know if you knew this, but Marilyn and I had a fling. I said, okay, my mouth kind of dropped, and it's like, is he really telling me this? So I said, okay. He said, but Mitch, as we were getting it on and we were going out and this and that, and he says, but that's not the tip of the iceberg. He says that Jack Lemmon had a temper tantrum on the set because he was in love with Marilyn. He wanted to go out with her. True story.
Well, the chemistry with Tony Curtis and her, with all of them, was undeniable. I could watch. That's a movie I can watch over and over. The chemistry between the three of them, that makes sense.
Cool that he told you that. Wow, amazing.
I mean, I told him, I says, Mr. Curtis, I said, I'm going to take this all the way to the grave because
except for now, because now he's gone. And it counts. I'm just kidding.
He was a true gem. I mean, honestly. And I was the only one. See, there was nobody else around. It was just me and maybe 2 or 3 cooks, by the kitchen, but nobody could. I mean, nobody.
It's like he wanted to get that off of his chest. Like he wanted to share that.
I was dumbfounded. I could not believe it. I just like, whoa. And then after he told me, and I went into the pantry, and the door shut, my face lit up like a Christmas tree. I couldn't believe he told me this. Oh my God.
And he's one of I always say Tony Curtis was so talented and multifaceted in his craft, and no one saw the tip of the iceberg for that man. I really believe it. I don't think he got all of the roles that even showed a little bit of his talent, which
very true.
Yeah.
He was an artist. He painted.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I actually ran into him in Las Vegas, like maybe 10 years after, at Caesar's Palace with my mom. I don't even know if the form shops were even open, but we were walking. I said, Mom, that's Tony Curtis. And I went up to him. I said, Tony, how you doing? And he was just so gracious. It was very sweet to my mom, and it just was really cool. Really cool.
That's
now,
wild.
I have a side question here. You were on Secrets of Playboy.
That's right.
So I really I think our audience especially might be interested in how the interview went.
Did they twist it around what you said? They totally.
And thank you for bringing that up.
Sound bites or what? I want to know.
So I was so edited in that.
Yeah.
And they were really good, and they tricked me. Yeah. I mean, that was all BS. I'm actually disappointed that I actually did that. That's why I didn't even bring it up to you, but I'm more than happy to. It was twisted. I mean,
like we could all tell from, because it was right when they were doing the Secrets of Playboy that I started coming up with the idea to do the show, and we were actually actively getting our first guest. And I'll never forget getting that phone call from Alexandra, the producer.
Well, she had produced such a good documentary. Echo and I both were happy to talk to her.
That we were like, oh my God, I love what she's like up to. But I knew by the end of that conversation, because it was nothing but positive and how it changed my life. And she's like, well, were there any like weird stories or like any negatives? And I was like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
it was amazing. Like you could tell right then and there. I was like, this bitch is up to something.
Did they call you first or me first? I forget, but
they called all the
we
Playmates.
both did the same thing. Echo and I knew we were being baited. I could hear it. I was being baited, and I was not happy about that in the first place. And they were doing the same thing, Echo. They kept saying, well, what about, and they were asking me about other people like that I knew, like Tiffany Sloan, like somehow Playboy was the reason for her death. And these are people I know and love.
And Stephanie Adams.
Like, I know these people. Why are you telling me about these people? I know them, and that's not true. The best time of Tiffany Sloan's life was during Playboy. It gave her a life she wouldn't have otherwise had, and was happiest in her life. So I was like, no, that's not true. So I knew right away. I said, no, I decline. Thanks.
Yeah.
No, it was just wrong.
So they totally took you and your interview and they chopped it to pieces and made it look like something else.
Yeah. And honestly, I am as I said, I'm disappointed that they reached out to me. I didn't even know how they found me. I mean, there's people that I know and I'm still friendly with, as I mentioned to you both. And I kind of stay in an inner circle. Like, I keep it really small, and I don't know how they discovered and they found me, but it was totally twisted. And it just was something like blah, yeah. I just,
more and more we're finding, and I don't know, maybe that's it. It's okay to be honest. I like honesty. I like truth. I don't like when things are skewed, and it scares me because there are quite a few things that are produced so well and they look so good and they're so entertaining. And I mean, there are millions of people watching and they're making millions. And what makes me very sad is when they skew truth, and it makes you realize, what can you believe anymore? Like, what can you believe? Because and people always want to get on a side, and it's so dark and ugly. And that would have hurt Hef because he was very protective of everyone. And it's the opposite of what you get from that. It hurt all of us. And I call us a family, and people, then you'll have people that say, oh, it's like a weird cult. No, it was really like a nice family.
It was
a wonderful
family.
business. It was an iconic empire only in America. And it's very sad because all of us that knew Hef and knew each other, and everyone, I am not, hands down, everyone that Echo and I meet, like yourself, having you on, have nothing but wonderful things to say.
Yeah.
So,
and it's thank God we've done this show, Mitch, because it finally, we're 5 years in and people are really just starting to discover it. We have done really well with like audio downloads around the world. Our YouTube channel just monetized, and people are now starting to see a whole other perspective. And they're like, oh my God, thank you. Like, this is out of the horse's mouth. These are firsthand accounts of what it really was. And they're like, more people need to listen to this, because it's nothing but a positive experience for everybody, except the 3 girlfriends that are like mad because they weren't playmates or whatever, it's bizarre.
But it's a stain, and we don't want to stain on something or on ourselves. Because think about that, Mitch. That's a reflection of you. Why would you go into a place where you're, why would I have posed for a magazine if it was I had to sleep with him, or we all have our own things, but it's when you hear someone lie, I want to call that out, because not that I have to defend my character, but it's all of us. It's the Playboy empire. It's like, no, it wasn't #MeToo for everyone. Sorry, it wasn't. It was a very everyone was taken care of in every capacity that they worked for Hef, and took something away that was positive.
And you know what Karina always says, and it's so true, that if Hefner was this monster that they claim him to be, that shit would have come out decades and decades before. There's no way that company would have been
no
as
one
successful.
Spoke up until he died. No one spoke up. Right. It's like, okay, he's dead.
Like, right there.
Free game.
So just to piggyback, I totally agree with both of you. First of all, it's about editing. It's also about those evil people that were a part of this. And we all know who they are. I don't have to mention their names. I'm not going to give them airtime. But the idea is that karma is going to get them many, many, many other ways. And he was very positive with me. And I need to tell you a story that happened with. He came to my birthday. I've got to tell you that story because it's fantastic.
I was going to ask you to tell us
that. This guy, and also when I worked at Planet Hollywood in Beverly Hills, how he came and found me through Mary O'Connor to visit me and for me to give him a tour.
Wow.
I'm just Mitch Rosen. This man, class, he was a mentor to me. And, he was definitely ahead of his time. Those are the 3 words that I want to say about him, because I loved him. I really did. And I miss him.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you that story. I'm going to make it quick. And I love you guys too, by the way. I love you.
We love you.
Mitch.
So Carrie comes down to the pantry, and I'm working. It's a shift that I'm working, and it's my birthday that day. Leah. So Carrie comes down to the pantry, and I don't know. We were just small talking, and it was kind of busy. There was a couple other butlers in and around, and she said, I said to her, it's my birthday today, and I'm going to go out with a couple of the butlers, and we're going to go over to the Hard Rock in LA later on tonight. And she goes, well, what time? I says, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9. I don't know. And I told her, I says, I'd love to have you and Hef join us, right? So fast forward, I'm at the Hard Rock with, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8 at the most. There were butlers there, and I don't think John was there, but there was a few of us that were there. So one of the butlers had shown up, a butler named Jerry Fowler. And he had said that, I don't know if you know this, Mitch, and we're all sitting down at the Hard Rock, and it's noisy and crazy. So he says, I don't know if you know this, but I think Hef's on his way here. And I'm going, what? So sure enough, as soon as he says this, I look to the front door of the Hard Rock Cafe in West Hollywood by the Beverly Center. And there's Hef, there's Carrie. So anyway, they made their way over to the table, and I immediately got up and I said to Mr. Hefner, I said, Mr. Hefner, can I get you a rum and Coke? That's exactly what I said to him. And he said to me, he goes, Mitch, sit down. What can I get for you? Happy birthday. I swear to God, that's what he said. I couldn't believe it. I mean, who am I? Who am I? Why does he, I couldn't believe this.
He cared because he cared. He had a giant
That is so
heart.
cool.
That's
but he didn't. But he never went to any other butler. I mean, I couldn't believe this.
Well, you were the
Seriously.
special butler. Look,
I was
having Mitch Rosen,
the chosen one.
The chosen butler.
I love that he asked what he could get you. That is wonderful. That's
So
what the letter
special.
is from. I'm going to read the letter.
Yes,
that he
Echo.
wrote.
Read.
And then I'll put it up on the screen for our audience. So this is directly from Hef, January 18th.
Nice.
Dear Mitch, thanks for the tour of Planet Hollywood and the jacket as well. Closing a tape documentary that you may already have, but it is one you may want to share with a friend. Best wishes, Hef, Hugh M. Hefner. That is so cool.
So thoughtful.
That's that's amazing. I love it.
It's unbelievable, man. Just unbelievable. I mean, I was a manager at Planet Hollywood. I opened 5 restaurants with them, and one of them was Beverly Hills because that was where I was born and raised. So I opened Planet Hollywood. Fast forward, so somehow, some way, do you remember Mr. Richard Rosenswag? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, Dick Rosenswag, of course.
Thank you. So he came in one day and had lunch, and we said hello because he was the West Coast PR, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten.
Correct.
So he got a hold of Mary. Mary got a hold of me, and Mary said, I want to bring Hef to Planet Hollywood because we had a theater at that Planet Hollywood. We had a game room. So we had a lot of little things that he wanted to see, right? So I said, sure, bring him. Let me know when he's coming. So sure enough, Mr. Hefner comes down. He's with security. He came in, and I gave him a tour. We had lunch. He asked me to sit with him. Now, then I could sit with him because it was different. So we just small talked. And the first thing I said to him when he came up, I said, do you remember me? He says, I do. I do remember you. And I was shocked because, he's a busy man. He had a lot going on in his world, right? So anyway, he had a great time. I presented him with a jacket. We had it on, we took photos and this and that. And because Planet Hollywood had a PR department, so we had to make sure that whoever came into Planet Hollywood celebrity-wise was on the so-called newsletter. So he left, and of course, a week or so later, he sent me that letter. Unbelievable.
Lovely. Just lovely.
Wow.
Yeah,
cherish that. I cherish that.
That was who he was. He didn't forget a thing. He had a photographic memory.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable the capacity he had for his generosity in thinking of others. It's beautiful. Yeah.
What a human being. Absolutely.
Well, Echo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Karina, I can't think of any other mansion staff that we've spoken to that have had encounters like Mitch had with Hef. Can you?
No.
Nah.
He's the golden butler. I wish he had waited on me. I would have ordered a milkshake from you, Mitch. I would have been like, at 2 a.m. Hi, can you bring me a milkshake?
Yes, I would have said yes, and I would have been there.
All of the playmates, all of us, I know that was just a treat. I never had a butler. And so all of a sudden you have butlers.
Anything you wanted at any time, 24 hours. It was.
We have stories, which I'm sure you have stories with playmates. I teased him. I would set up traps, dump water on his head. I mean, I was childish anyway. Yeah, butlers. The butlers. We love the butlers.
We love the butlers.
The butlers. And Hef loved the butlers, clearly.
Yes.
And you had, so you couldn't just be a butler. It was a process.
No, a lot of fun.
He was a good judge of character. Absolutely. Yeah. And yeah.
I mean, to this day, it's the longest job that I've ever had. I mean, that's almost 9 years. 8 and a half, 9 years. I mean, even, yeah. I mean, come on.
You loved it. I mean, that's one thing that has stuck out, Mitch, on every interview we've had with Playboy employees, whether it's corporate or Playboy Mansion staff. The amount of years that people stayed in their positions speaks volumes to who Hugh Hefner was and to Playboy. They loved working for that company and they stayed for a long time.
There'll never be anybody like Mr. Hefner. I'm telling you.
Never, ever.
Yeah.
We're so, blessed to have been a part of it. And it's so fun reconnecting with everybody. So on that note, as you know, we like to finish the show with 2 questions. You said you already had your 3 words, but I'm going to ask you again. So 3 words that define Hugh Hefner to you.
Class. A class act. I mean, the man had so much class, just class. And then the other one is he was a mentor of mine. He was a mentor. And I always felt that he was ahead of his time. He just speaks loudly.
Yeah, I agree. He was ahead of his time. Had you had the opportunity to say anything to him before he passed or in memoriam, what would you say?
Don't go yet. Don't go. Don't go.
I love that.
Too much. Don't go.
I love that. Nobody has said that.
I know. Wow.
That brings tears to my eyes. I love that. Yeah, he's so missed. We all talk about it. Well, thank you so much, Mitch. What an honor to have another wonderful butler on the show, and great story about Marilyn Monroe and Some Like It Hot. And oh my God, Tony Curtis and Don Lemon. That's great. Not Don Lemon. Did I just say Don Lemon?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Echo. We all knew who you're talking about.
Yes. What a fun interview. Well, thank you, doll. We appreciate it. To our audience, thank you so much for all the love, support. Continue to stay tuned. We have so many more shows coming. We have just a plethora of guests that want to come on the show, and we're so excited to be able to bring it to you. So please like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment down below, and we will see y'all next week. I'm Echo.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Mitch. Wherever he is.
This is Chronicles.
The Bunny Chronicles. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you.
Love you guys. Love you guys.
Love you.